Hey folks, it's the start of March. It's a fantastic month to be outdoors, I reckon. Start of autumn, everything's getting cooler. I've just been out for a little forage now. Gonna go look for some pine mushrooms. It's been raining, so they're popping out, which is great. Anyway, in this episode, I've got some duck shooting for you. Got a recipe for venison kofta, which I hope you enjoy. And a bit of a deer hunt that me and Tristan had the other day, which didn't seal the deal, but got bloody close. Anyway guys, good times are natural. Yeah, so just up at the pine block getting a few saffrons, and there's quite a few about actually. I like the smaller ones, but it's a cool phenomenon to get these happening at the same time as blackberries, because this is still quite early. You know, we started getting mushrooms from late February onwards. A big hit of rain and some cooler temperatures at night seem to have done the trick to get them pumping, so that's good. When I was picking the blackberries before, I was very careful to choose patch of native hardwood to go collect them in, because most land managers right now would be spraying fairly hard out and have been for most of summer. You'll see them signposted. You'll see them around where they put up a sign at the front of a forest saying don't eat the fruit and all that kind of thing. But just for your own sense of safety, just get off the tracks, just get off the roads, because whatever's out of range of a boom spray is basically going to be fine. Yeah, some nice gullies and native blocks I find tends to do pretty well. You'll also find that the berries fruit at different times, which is cool because you've got this kind of running harvest where, you know, you can just be mindful of where the new fruit's coming from as other fruit in other areas is already ripening. So, you know, it's not just one big hit once in the year. Yeah, so I don't actually need that many mushrooms, and seeing as it's just the start of what's going to be a pretty wet autumn by the looks of it, I'll just pick a few fresh quite often, because why not have them fresh? There's no point in taking a heap all at once and letting them go dry on you, rather than get them fresh, eat them the same day or the next day, that kind of thing. Hey folks, look, just before we get into the hunting and the cooking, just want to let everyone know that I've got a whole bunch of new beanies delivered, and a sincere apology to anyone in the last 3 to 4 months who's tried to get in touch with me to get one. Apart from the fact that I didn't have them, sorry guys, I just get swamped, absolutely swamped with messaging, and I find it, look, I'm only human, I just can't get back to even, not nearly half of them, to be honest folks, and there's just a lot that get lost in message requests and then just find themselves filtered out, so I'm really sorry about that. I am trying. But yeah guys, if you'd like one, you can get in touch with me on Instagram or Facebook Messenger. Or for those who don't do social media, respect to you folks, totally understand, that's healthy. I'll leave an email address down the bottom there for you, aussiebushharvest@gmail.com, so you can get in touch with me there. Yeah, folks, duck shooting. I've been getting stuck into the New South Wales Game Bird Management Program, and that's just been really, really satisfying. I say this with trepidation, knowing, sorry, Victorian hunters, that you've been shafted. Hey, I'm a Victorian game license holder too. I feel shafted too. What they've done to reduce your hour limit down there to 20 days and 2 bloody ducks a day, it's disgusting. I'll get into that politics a little later, particularly when I go down to Victoria to be part of that season, no matter how short it is. But look, it's just been a really great opportunity for me to see and get exposed to a lot of ducks, practice shooting ducks, and just get involved in all of that. I've also been given a canoe. Bluey, brother, thank you so much. The places that thing's gonna go, just wait. And yeah, cheers. I don't know, I'm just throwing myself into waterfowl in a big way. It's just, I'm feeling that new excitement for a new, exciting passion. Have been all year really, and yeah, my first recreational season will actually be, more on that shortly. Anyway, I ramble too much. Duck shooting. Just one thing to add in here folks is, remember this is culling, it's not sporting duck shooting. So I can't stand next to the property owner who needs ducks reduced on his land and say, oh no, I'm going to wait for the duck to take off and have a sporting chance like you would in a recreational season. It's just not that situation. We have to get numbers down. It is a cull. That's the difference here. well, they're not the biggest bags, but you just do this all the time, particularly these wood ducks. This is what's really having a crack on the crops, and you'll find that wood ducks in particular, and mountain ducks too, I'm told, just heavy grazers. The biggest impact on agriculture, so I want to do this all the time and just keep eating them all the time. Sounds like a plan to me. A lot of teal. Those are all grey teal. Apparently endangered in Victoria at the moment. According to the government down there. I call bullshit. Ample wood ducks. Just like I described before, real keen on grazing, less so dabbling. Pacific blacks. That's great. The woods are all... That's brilliant for us. They're all in the water. Hey, I'll just sneak up and put this up there. Got one. Second go. Buckies, buckies. Oh, they're gone. Oh, it's all happening. They're ducks in the water. It's good. I'm going to go in for a wade, and what we're going to do is just find ourselves a little spot near those trees, play the patience game. Didn't lead the bead. Last few minutes of light anyway, just to see what lands. It's a really nice way to finish the day. It's a really cool spot to be. And you never know, because it's not just about the big flocks that stay together. There's always just a few other stragglers or groups of 4 or something that just are cruising around looking for a place to sit for the night. Just like that. Oh, bugger, 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 bugger. Oh, missing my shot for the shell. Okay people, so today's recipe I'm going to do is kofta, which is a really popular dish in the Middle East, the Mediterranean. Depends on what nationality you are. There's certain variants that you can find in these recipes. Apart from the fact that it's delicious, something that you can do around a campfire, something quick and easy after work, or you can just bulk it up to make something fantastic for a lot of family if you're going to do it on a weekend or something like that. But this is more than majority inspired by the fact that we have a really diverse ethnic hunting community here in Australia. I guess I just want to highlight that because there's a lot of people out there who like to paint us all as a bunch of great white hunters, and it's just not true, and I don't want to play into any of that kind of modern bullshit. And I actually love the fact that there's a lot of people in our hunting community who are bringing the best of different hunting cultures from all around the world that have their very, very long traditions of doing this. It's just a way of us making our own hunting culture here more mature and more refined. Anyway, enough politics. Kofta. Well, first of all, for anyone who doesn't know what kofta is, it's delicious mincemeat made into a kebab on a skewer. Now, I'm the kind of guy who likes to keep it natural, so I've got some gum sticks that I've whittled down into skewers, and that's got absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I forgot to get skewers from the supermarket, but it works just as fine. So first stage in this process though is to get some mincemeat out of this venison. Now obviously the first thing we've got to consider is that venison is a very, very lean meat, and in order to make up for that, we're going to add breadcrumb to this recipe. That's making up for that lack of fat. If you're going to have lamb kofta or beef kofta or something like that, it's got 20 to 30% fat ratio into it, which makes it delicious. But we're working with game meat here. That's how we're going to make that compromise. And just before I make the mince, I'd just like to show the array of spices we'll be using. Obviously we've got some salt, some pepper. I'm using sweet paprika. I'm using sumac, which to be honest I'm pretty new to using, and it's absolutely delicious. I love this stuff. Got some ground coriander there. I've got some parsley. Cumin would have been a great addition to this recipe. I thought I had it at home and I don't. But that would be a really, really nice addition to this. And also with parsley, you can use fresh coriander leaves if you want to. Mind you, I've got ground coriander in it, which is a very different flavour to the leaves, but those are interchangeable. There's so many different variations to this recipe. This is just a pretty generic one. Also got an onion and some garlic to add in too. So two things I want to be mindful of when I make this mince is that I want to keep everything pretty cold. I mean, this mince is still semi-frozen in the middle. It's only recently been defrosted, and that's fine. That's great. The second thing is don't want this mix to get watery, and so when I'm adding extras like the onion and the parsley and stuff like that, just being very mindful of any excess moisture to get rid of it, otherwise this mix isn't going to bind that well. And of course, the breadcrumb's going to help with that too. Something's loose in there, might be its last hurrah. That should be alright. Awesome. So I've got some finely chopped parsley and some diced up onion, some breadcrumbs, and I've got all my spices here. I'm just gonna get everything in the mix first. Because I'm not in any way massively experienced with Middle Eastern cooking, or even doing kofta for that matter, I'm gonna just go slightly easier on some of the ingredients first, and I can always add extra. One good way of testing if your mix is any good is you can just take a little bit and fry it off, and if you need to add a little extra salt, or you think you can bulk up the herbs or whatever it is, yeah, you've got the chance to do that. But you can do that if you put less in first. You can always add more. First thing, I'm going to be pretty liberal with the breadcrumbs. Just a nice covering over the top there. A little hand of salt like that. Add that all through. Now just for reference sake, should have said this at the start, I'll probably put it in the comments anyway. This is about 600 to 700 grams of venison that I'm using here. You probably do more like a kilo if you're going to feed people, but look, I'm just cooking for one here. So anyway, adding a good handful of parsley, some of that onion, nice shake of paprika, sumac. I love this stuff. It's the bomb. Although I'll go a little easier, it's got a real lovely tart flavour to it, so I'm going to just not go hell crazy. Coriander, and a bit of pepper. Alright, I'm just getting my hands in, working this mixture all the way through. The breadcrumbs do help mitigate any excess moisture, but to be perfectly honest, this mix is feeling pretty good, and it's just binding quite naturally like that. So that's cool. I don't think I'll be adding any extra parsley or onion. I'm thinking I should have probably chopped the onion up a bit finer, but you know what? I think the flavour will be exactly the same. Well, that's bound together really nicely, and that's good. I'm going to put that back in the fridge right now, just to let it cool down again, and then I'm going to get it on the skewers. Yeah, so kofta can be cooked on a hot plate, no problem, but I'm much rather do it over an open fire with some coals. Just going to get that nice char to it. I think that'd be a much nicer way to do it. Got to make sure that the skewers are soaked for a while, just to stop them burning. I mean, these ones I'll flip around so that they get equally soaked, just to make sure it all works. Yeah, I know, it occurs to me that there's probably a lot of you know, Lebanese or Greek followers of this channel. I know there's plenty of you. I've met some of you guys, maximum respect, who are probably shaking their heads in embarrassment right now from this attempt, or I've done it wrong. But I think you get the drift of why I'm trying to do these recipes. It's just to inspire. It's just let's get cooking this way. Let's start being a bit smarter. Let's try all different kinds of ways of integrating game meat, natural food into our lifestyles. That's what I'm trying to do here. Alrighty, it's had about an hour in the fridge, so it's skewer time. They've been soaking for a bit over an hour themselves too. And this is really set quite nicely, which is good. Yeah, so just getting a good portion, stick through it, and really moulding it on to the stick. Yeah, I really should have cut those onions finer. I really want to make sure that every single part of this has had a few good squeezes, just to make sure that that bind is really there. I'll just suck if it all just fell on the fire part way through. That looks good. Number 2. Well, there you go, guys. I've got 5 good ones, and I'm actually going to put them back in the fridge briefly so that they can just help set a little bit more, and also wait for that fire over there to go down the coals a bit. We're ready to rock and roll. Good base of coals there, and one of the main things here is I just want to make sure it gets a real good hot start to it, so they sear on the outside just like you would with any venison. And also just to hold it together so nothing falls off the bloody sticks. Anyway. Oof, yep, that's hot enough. Let's go for it. 1, 2. 3. 4. And 5. Go you good things. Doing nicely. It's like every 30 seconds I'm going to give them a flip from now on. This is where it's at. Sizzling away now. That's good. Now that's where it's at. I glazed it with a little bit of oil. There's only one in the middle that's probably just a bit more cooked than I wanted, but that doesn't matter. This is the last turn. In 20 seconds I'm loading them up. Lovely. Well guys, here's close to a final product, and I'm just making, literally all that is for a sauce is some yogurt, some mint, and a bit of garlic on top. Mixing that through, simple as that. I'll just let that sit so the flavours soak in a bit. Let me just hoe into one first. That's a winner. That's good. I think I'll be careful to measure the salt out per quantity next time. That's good. Maybe just a touch more than what I did, but I don't really know now because I just put a little handful in with a varied mixture of meat, so it'll be good for me to get my quantities right next time. But that's bound together really well. Oh, it's good. Bit of nice sauce with it now. Oh. Folks, I'm stoked. I'm really stoked with that. And yeah, there's plenty of different ways you can enjoy this. You know, you could get some nice saffron rice to go with it, or you know, some tabbouleh. I'm not for 1 second saying that this is tabbouleh. Parsley, tomato, and onion together does not automatically equal tabbouleh, but it'll be really nice in this wrap. And that sauce too, that yogurt, mint, and garlic combination, that seems to really work. I'm gonna get a bit of lemon on it too. Folks, I'm really pleased with that result. And look, as usual, I'm just having a go at things here. I'm just trying to give people ideas and a bit of inspiration. Let's get eating game meat often and all the bloody time. Please guys, any ideas from any of our Mediterranean mates? Any cuisines that you used to have growing up? Things that could be interchanged with game meat? Anything like that, please. Chuck it in the comments. I'd appreciate it. Tristan, he's in an awkward spot. You can't see him like I can. You can't fucking see it. You can't see it. You can't see what I can see. Now folks, as you're watching some of this footage, you could probably pick up on a little bit of anxiety and frustration, because I can see one thing and Tristan can see another, and it was just tense because I was just so sure he was going to get onto those deer. But the thing is, he couldn't see what I could see, and he couldn't see what you guys are seeing in this footage. But he's just flipped that round, I couldn't see what he could see. And funnily enough, he saw 3 stags, and the one that we saw staring at him was actually the smallest of the bunch of them. So look, really massive respect to Triz just for holding off, and yeah, just not to seal the deal at the end of the day. No man, he held his nerve, he made his choices, and that's hunting. You know, we can't just get what we desire every single time. It's just not how it works, otherwise it's not hunting. So yeah, an amazing encounter anyway. I just enjoyed that hunt so much, even though we didn't take a deer home at the end of the day. It's all good.
I brought it bare on him, and then he looked up and he just was like dead staring at me, like,
Yeah.
like, but his entire body except for the top of his.
He's there. Sorry, I just saw them move down. I know I showed it last time, but here's another classic example within maybe an hour of it being done. Stag shit. See how it clumps up together and gets all sticky? Knocks together. Very different from the hinds at this time of year. Now that's a nice dessert. That's a good treat. And folks, that's homegrown and wild harvest in the same spot. And that's how we keep it natural. Oh, this last week has been a really great one. I've just been enjoying the abundance of nature so much. And you know what? It just makes me think of one thing. Makes me think of one thing. It's the person I'd like to be sharing this all with, because I'm very much in love with a deer hunter. And her name is Kira. I'd love to have you by my side right now, sweetheart. Folks, she's deployed overseas. She's in the Defence Force, and look, that's just how it is, and I'm proud of that. I'm so proud of having someone in my life who serves our country in that way. But oh, I miss you terribly, sweetheart, and I just think of all the incredible natural times we'll have together. Anyway, love you always.